Of no return for all 5 challenges. It's a long way to go and it starts now.
The beauty of sport is that you get judged by one thing and one thing only, and that's results.
Luno Rossa Prada Pirelli get exactly what they want, the win and the 1 point going into day 2.
Ultimately, every single one of us here will be judged at the end of the day by the result.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, the team now under all the pressure.
Anything can happen. We're just going to go out there every day, push hard, and win races.
Orient Express Racing are in the lead of race 1 of the Louis Vuitton Cup.
We came quite late, everybody knows, but it's a big challenge and the ambition is quite high.
Orient Express Racing, they win race 1 of the Louis Vuitton Cup Challenger Selection Series.
We are not there just to participate, we are pushing every day and we just want to win races.
Keep it simple, 1 and in here.
Ineos Britannia with the 14-second win against New York Yacht Club's American Magic.
Good to get a point on the board early on. For us, we're happy with that, but plenty to work on as always as we progress through the competition.
Obviously, we're bitterly disappointed with the result. We expect a lot better than that at American Magic, but we're up and rolling now, and the only way is up.
The defender has thrown a little jab into the face of Luno Rossa Prada Pirelli. If you want to beat us, well, this is what you got to do.
I think everyone's got strengths and weaknesses, and at the end of this double round robin, one of these teams is going home.
Bienvenidos. This is Barcelona, home to the Louis Vuitton 37th America's Cup, and it's delivered another stunning summer day with the promise of more thrilling AC75 racing. It's day 2 in the race for survival, the Louis Vuitton Cup, and if the opening day is anything to go by, the true spirit of the America's Cup is well and truly entrenched in this regatta. 2.5 years of design, millions of dollars invested, proved if you've produced a fast boat, you're going to be at the head of the fleet. After the opening day, these are the standings. First with the defender involved, and it's quite straightforward. They bagged a win against Luno Rossa while the French, British and Italians grabbed their first points. Now, when you take the defender out, the positions change slightly, but what it does reveal is that 2 of the major names in the regatta, American Magic and Alinghi Red Bull Racing, are winless, and there is real work to be done. No one wants to be the first to go home. But if you thought those 2 teams have a lot to do, try Emirates Team New Zealand. Late yesterday, after racing, as they were craning their boat out of the water, something went horribly wrong. There was a crane malfunction, dropping Taihoru onto the cradle, damaging the defender. You can imagine the reaction from the team after a stunning win against Luno Rossa earlier in the day, and this was the initial reaction from team boss Grant Dalton.
I was in my office and heard it. It sounded like a bomb went off, and the boat dropped about 6 metres onto its cradle. It's still a bit early to know exactly how much damage. We've been inside the boat, and you can hear in the background them tapping it out just for structural damage at the moment. But until we can secure it with a new crane and lift it, we're not 100% sure how much damage. I think luckily the rig stayed in the boat.
And how much of an impact could this have on not just short-term but long-term campaign?
Oh, that's hard to say. You know, I was talking to the guys just before and reminded them of what happened to us in Bermuda when we tipped the boat over against Ben.
The Kiwis, they're taking a time with those guys. Okay, my goodness me. Man overboard, crisis time for New Zealand.
And I think actually that was a turning point almost for the campaign and made us win. You know, we came together even more. Now, this is not that sort of example because that was we turned that round in the night. So this is a bit more serious than that, and it's a longer term. It'll probably put us out for the round robins. Maybe we get back before the end of them, maybe not. Until we assess it properly, we just don't know.
Fast forward 12 hours, from the shock of the boat dropping to the defender's shore team switching into fight mode. And this is where the word team goes to another level. And what's gone on behind closed doors in those hours is truly remarkable.
Yeah, well, the repairs have already started. We're pretty lucky, I think. If it had been 200 millimetres either side, it would have been a whole bunch worse, but it fell into the cradle. And so the guys have literally cut a piece of boat away. Yeah, it looks like the Titanic a bit at the moment. It could have been completely campaign over. It's possible that we could be back out by tomorrow. And I don't think it'll all be buffed up, but we could well be out again by tomorrow.
Emirates Team New Zealand then have pretty much gone full matrix. They have dodged a bullet, Shirley Robertson, and what a bullet to dodge.
I'm not sure lucky is the right word, but lucky in so many ways. The boat actually did hit the cradle, so that saved it in a way. The boat was still switched on, which has meant the team have been able to test the loading on everything and actually check the impact. But what we do know about Emirates Team New Zealand is they're amazing in a crisis, and that invisible force behind the sailors are absolutely stellar.
Yeah, if it had been 30 seconds earlier, halfway from the water over the edge of the dock and dropped down, it could have been a whole different story. So fortunate in some ways, but a bit of a disaster in others for the team.
Grant talked about the electronics taking a big bump, and we've talked about reliability going forward. Does that concern you in any way?
I don't think so. I think the team have seen this movie before many times, so I think they're in great shape, and that definitely won't affect the performance of the boat.
Glenn, you were in that dramatic capsize that we just saw. I mean, how would you summarise that force behind the sailing team?
I think looking at the team in some of these pictures is absolutely, the reason why the boat will be back on the water in great shape. So they'll be just fine.
So we'll just wait and see when Emirates Team New Zealand get out on the water. But they are out today. They will not be racing. 2-point scoring races are lined up, with American Magic sailing twice, first against Alinghi Red Bull Racing and then against Luna Rossa. Regulations state that the opponents of New Zealand must simply start the races that were scheduled for today. So teams will start thinking about heading out to the water. American Magic, huge day for them today. They're looking for win number 1. And of course, the Alinghi Red Bull Racing, the traditional ring in the bell and get out there. They got a loss yesterday. 2 are looking for win number 1. Ineos Britannia and of course Orient Express Racing. They were both just doing what I would like to call ceremonial starts, but that's what the regulations say they've got to do. And then of course you start thinking about Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, and they are racing today, and they look very, very strong yesterday. As the Louis Vuitton Cup gets going, so is the atmosphere in the race villages and the fan zones from watching racings on the big screens to simply enjoying the summer vibe that the regatta and the Barcelona city creates. Okay, time to go racing. These are today's race conditions with Shirley Robertson.
Well, the Barcelona racetrack was always going to deliver stunning looking shots, but no one was under any illusion it was going to be straightforward. And today could be one of the toughest we've seen. Breeze is still in the east, and as we're beginning to learn, is really unstable. We're predicted to have between 4 and 9 knots. Add to that the famous Barcelona bump, and keeping the machine fast and flying is likely to be the overriding concern. For each head-to-head race, it's a battle of control and skill, with the boundaries pushing the boats back together, forcing multiple high-tariff manoeuvres, both upwind and downwind. On each of the 3 laps, our team will be trying to find the best of the conditions, and as we've seen, fighting to claim it all for themselves.
Race number 5, American Magic, Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Left licking their wounds after a costly pre-start mistake in the opening day will without doubt have sharpened the focus of the sport's MPV, Tom Slingsby, and co-driver Paul Goodison. Their ship looks speedy, and with 2 races today, it's all about delivering the goods. Trimming and piloting duties are all Campbell and Menninger's, and providing the wattage they need to win. Heads down and clipping in is former swimmer Hall, sprint canoeist Hornsby, and rowing machines Regier and Shirley.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, previous 2 times America's Cup winner in version 5 monohulls in 2003 and 2007, are back in the game here in Barcelona for AC37. Will the blend of experience and raw new talent be the right recipe for success for the team? The twin helmsmen on the AC75 of Arnaud Sarafagas and Maxime Bachelon will steer the yacht, and controlling the flight over the water is Brian Matreau and Nicolas Rollard. In the engine room for the team today is the powerhouse of all their cyclers ready to roll today.
And so both these teams under pressure. We know it's only day 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup, but they both need to start getting the W's on the board. Most importantly, those points. We've just been advised by race management. It's now a 2:18 start local time. That's 2:18 p.m. Because once again, as happened yesterday, the wind limits aren't up to what they need to be. The lowest possible wind can be 6.5 knots. But I suppose Shirley Robinson, double Olympic gold medalist, 3-time America's Cup winner, Glenn Ashby. Even though we had to wait yesterday, we got some cracking racing, didn't we?
I think yesterday really showcased, how the performance of these yachts is super, super high in light air. And I think Shirley sailing around in 6 and 7 knots and doing 30, 35, 40 knots is, tight racing was fantastic.
The good news is that as the yachts have been warming up, they have all been foiling. There's even been discussion about which jib, which is a good sign, isn't it? It means it's at the top end, but it is particularly tricky, this racetrack, and really hard to forecast.
Jibs has been a real talking point, particularly after day 1. There was some suggestion that some teams may have put the wrong jibs on for the conditions. What are you seeing at the moment?
Yeah, look, today, very, very light conditions, and obviously we're just bouncing below that sort of average 6.5 knot wind limit. We're seeing Alinghi Red Bull racing here, sailing around, foiling around, and you only need a slight drop in breeze and we'll trip that wind limit. So right on the edge of racing at the moment.
Let's go on board to Chase Zero with Pete Lester. Hey, Pete, I was thinking about this yesterday. We talked to you about the early stages before we got racing. Are the conditions that similar, or are they slightly different now that we can see and we're looking at Alinghi Red Bull racing motoring around?
Pretty light. Looking up the course, it looks to be a bit lighter than yesterday actually at the same time. And it also looks lighter at the top of the course. I thought yesterday when I looked upwind it looked a bit more breeze at Mark 1. But the wind across the course looks quite uniform, but it's very, very light.
Fans are out. They want to see some racing, and if they are patient like everybody around the world was yesterday, they will get some cracking racing, to say the least. I mean, let's just quickly have our own little review of what we saw yesterday. I'll ask you both, who impressed most?
I think yesterday, probably who impressed me most were Orient Express Racing.
This is the race committee. We failed the wind limit again. New start time, 14:23.
I see little comms there from race director Ian Murray and Mel Roberts there on the breeze. Still failing, which is a shame. But yeah, I think Orient Express Racing, Stephen, impressed me the most yesterday. Coming out, getting off the start line nice and cleanly, nice even start, and then actually chipping away and having some great racing. So the team did a great job.
Considering what we saw in the preliminary regatta, are you surprised or gratified that 4 days between racing, they switched on in the area that's most critical in these races?
Look, at the end of the day, you have to race. You have to put your racing hat on and you have to get off the start line and you have to race. And I think the team have been in such a big scramble to learn, get it going, get the boat reliable, that in the end, you have to get off the start line and you have to race, and that's what we saw yesterday.
Shirley, your thoughts on yesterday?
Well, I was also impressed by Orient Express, and they took a real battering at the press conference the day before, and I properly felt for them. And I don't know if that fueled the fire, but I mean, they looked fantastic. The boat was fast, but also they sailed it in a real clinical way, and that's they're only gonna improve in confidence.
Any surprises out there for either of you?
I think, I guess the surprise possibly would have been the pre-start with American Magic yesterday, coming off the foils. Really easy to come off the foils. They were in a lighter side of the course, and, that was really tricky for them as a team to dig their way out. But we saw them come back, and we saw them sail right up the exhaust pipe of the British down the track, and some great racing.
Yeah, I think that is a problem area. The starting box, it does seem lighter at the bottom end of the course in this wind direction, and I'm sure they would have played out all the scenarios, the teams, yesterday, but it is not easy. The wind is light, and also you can't help but sail through the gas of your own gas or the other boat.
I think the biggest, pressure yesterday would have been on the team's meteorologists, to be honest, you know, feeding that information back, trying to predict what is going to happen there, what jibs do the team use, and all the teams have their own meteorologists, and, you know, we saw yesterday it wasn't an easy job.
Okay, I'll come back to that in just a moment. We just are in a waiting game, as we were yesterday. This is day 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup, and both these teams, American Magic and Alinghi Red Bull Racing, have to start winning. Because remember, at the end of all this, I know we keep saying this, but it's crucial, it is brutal. At the end of this regatta, this part of the regatta, one team is going home. Neither of these highly rated teams wants to go home. Start time has officially been put back to 2:23 local time. You know, we've seen in this regatta, including the preliminary regatta, I think only one team passed another boat, and that was Emirates Team New Zealand. And they did a magical job on that upwind third leg yesterday against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Considering what's happened yesterday, late yesterday, with the damage to the boat, does it come into your head at any stage with they need to take, you know, fix the front end of the boat? Performance being tailed back because of the change, because of the fix?
I don't think there'll be any issues whatsoever with the structural integrity of Te Horo. I really don't think there will be an issue there. Basically, you know, the team will ultrasound the structure internally, you know, the FEA modelling.
This is the race committee. We failed the wind limit again. New start time, 14:27.
That FEA modelling, sorry, you know, will be very much done, and they'll be able to sort of simulate the loads effectively of what the boat actually saw, and the optic fibre load recording, the fact that the boat was turned on. They will actually be able to see what loads were actually recorded. The IMU, you know, on the boat, the inertial measuring unit will basically pick up, you know, the force that was actually created of that boat actually dropping into the cradle. And, you know, looking at some of the pictures, yes, it looks like there's quite a lot of damage. It certainly won't just polish out. You know, there'll be some structural work having to be done there. But you've got the best boat builders and structural engineers in the world, in the marine industry, working on these sort of problems, and the team will be in great shape fixing that up, and hopefully we'll see them back on the water again very shortly.
It's amazing to think what people don't see that goes on behind, and to think, you know, when we first heard the news, we're going, no, you're kidding. This hasn't happened. Then when you start to unfold and dig deep into the story, you suddenly realise that we're dealing with people whose ability is beyond anything, and it's sometimes, you know, for the layman, quite hard to understand what goes on to actually put a boat of the technical, you know, difficulties that we aren't understand, put them back in the water, right?
You have the best people in the world, and they've worked together for such a long time. I'll never forget, really, in Barcelona. I mean, your boat, Glenn, was nearly in bin bags going back into the shed, and literally the shed door shut. And when it opened again 2 days later, it was like brand new, and it was a massive team effort. You know, the lady who looks after logistics was there helping out. Everybody got involved, and also, I think sometimes a little bit of a crisis, a little bit of adversity just brings everyone together for the occasion. And so long term might not be a bad thing.
So we shall wait and see. You know, foiling has revolutionised the America's Cup. Those wing-like appendages can lift a hull clear out of the water and enable it to hit speeds of more than 50 knots. Now, that's over 100 kilometres an hour. Every team is hoping this will be their year to celebrate. Alinghi Red Bull Racing is confident there's the correct mix of youth and experience to steer their AC75 to victory.
To learn to sail an AC75 with two helmsmen was a bit disturbing in the beginning, mainly because it was new.
Being a helm on the 75, it's quite challenging. I think it's the important part to have a good communication on board between Arnaud and me.
The sails go from the mast all the way to the back and down to the deck, so you don't see half of the race course or what's happening. So you need really to rely on your crew members, and especially the other helmsmen that you have.
Better away in 3, 2, 1, better away.
I think that Luna Rossa, when they came up with that idea in 2021, was a game changer solution. And for us, it was the option that we wanted to go from the beginning. You learn way faster as well, because you can combine two experiences. You try new things way quicker. So the learning curve is much better with two helmsmen than with one.
Driving an AC-75, it's quite different compared to other boats because, yes, it was my first time like seated and driving with a wheel. You have many buttons on the wheel that make many settings, making the boat faster, really like a car, I would say. Arnaud Psarfragis is a very talented sailor. I think he's focusing a lot on the performance of the boats. He's always questioning the systems and how to be faster. And I think it's one of the quality that is the best for winning the America's Cup. So I'm very happy to helm with him.
Maxime Bachelin, the second helmsman that we have, is full of energy, young sailor. But it's great because we have a slightly different approach. His one is incredible because he's fearless. He just wants to send the boat around the race course at full speed. Winning this America's Cup will be a great achievement because we've been working so hard for this goal. I've been dreaming about it for many years.
Lifting the America's Cup, I think it's the best achievement I can have and the biggest dream I have. To be able to bring it back to Switzerland, making the same atmosphere as I had when I was young, when they won 2 times. So if I can bring this to the country, will be just an amazing feeling.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, I think they said yesterday they have everything they need to win races. Well, guess what? They need to win a race today. 4 minutes and 11 seconds and counting, and that is a good sign, although no, if you look a little bit closer, they're being towed up, Stephen, so there you go. Got caught out by that yesterday, I apologise. It's quite thin, that red tow rope, give me a break.
It's a little trickier, it'll get you every time, the old tow line, but no, Alinghi Red Bull Racing, both teams here actually towing up.
Just waiting for the wash and happy to say happy Max here? Yeah,
both boats here being towed by their team chase boats, setting up in actual fact for the entry which will be happening. It looks like we're going to be live here for a race at the moment, so that is what we want to see.
Confirmation, the word is yes, we are good to go, so we'll get that confirmation at the 3-minute mark from Mel from Race Management. So, okay, buckle in, here we go, race 5 on day 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. 2 teams that quite simply need that first race win for confidence and to go forward in this Cup regatta.
This is the race committee. We have completed the wind sampling and this race is live.
Happy days on the race course off the coast of Barcelona. The Louis Vuitton Cup, the race to the final. And that's what this is all about. Coming in from port will be American Magic. They will want to get this start perfect today against Alinghi Red Bull Racing, who will come in from starboard. From the 2-minute mark, there you see American Magic. That minimalist design can come in after the 2-minute and 10 mark. And let's see how their time on distance is.
Both boats pulling off their manoeuvres there in the pre-start, so should be looking like a on-time entry.
It's got a slight pin in favour in this 114.
It's gone left quite a bit there since we came back this way.
Nice entry, time on distance there from American Magic.
Make sure we get a bit of depth early.
Driving before the morning.
So we should be able to see Alinghi Red Bull Racing coming in now. It's under that 2-minute mark and they are coming in late, but now, as we keep saying, that the dance begin.
Super critical, these light air manoeuvres here.
Okay, all right.
Both boats on their big sail package, M1s, J1s.
1 minute for the pin, racing from here.
Got to be so careful in the box. Light winds, also they're mixing up the breeze the whole time.
Alinghi. Oh, they've sailed straight into the gas of American Magic there. You cannot build in there in that light air. Fully in the roost.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, exactly as what happened to American Magic yesterday in the start box, off the fours. Now, can they get up and get going?
20 for the start.
A bit push for it. 1 minute. Gonna have the boundary soon.
So hard to get up to pace there. There's light winds, the air's mixed up. They need, what, 20-something knots to actually lift.
I'll just have to roll the boat around here and actually start heading back towards the start line, try and actually foil on starboard tack. That is absolutely brutal for Alinghi Red Bull Racing there. Yep, old school, back the jib. American Magic now, time on distance basically for a start. They're actually sailing back above the line to actually get built in clear air. They don't want to sail in that vortex. They'll do a dip start and be off the left-hand boundary. Their next manoeuvre after that will be critical.
Cutting down to a start. It's all good at this point for American Magic, not so for Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Nice work, guys.
Race 5
Fires, restart penalty Swiss. Restart penalty Swiss.
of the Louis Vuitton Cup, and American Magic is away, and the penalty on Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Just in front looks okay.
Yeah, in front looks okay.
30 seconds
American
here.
Magic really need to be able to pull this manoeuvre off. You see them there putting the bow down to build for speed.
20 seconds.
They'll basically need to keep the boat around about 28 knots minimum boat speed to pull this manoeuvre off, as I guess.
Boundary. A little light here, but we've got speed.
Now it's okay, holding here. Trimming trial.
Big trim.
Happy on trial. Happy passion, yeah. Happy to
Big one.
Okay. The speed.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing could still be there when American Magic gets back.
Looking like they're actually just popping there, Alinghi Red Bull Racing. So they've done a nice job to get the boat on the foil. Definitely not over yet. It's we've seen some puffs and lulls, Shirley, up the course. So pressure on both boats.
Switzerland penalty done.
To stay on the foils here. This will be all about boat handling and using plenty of oil to move those big twin skin mainsails through the power range.
It wasn't as a painful watch as American Magic yesterday. That was a pretty good job.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think they did a fantastic job there, American Magic, to keep the boat on the foils and did a nice job of staying clear air. That big air intake, which is the wind powering the sails, did a good job there keeping clean.
Let's go on to chase zero. Peter Less, you've got to say, despite getting off the fours, getting back up for Alinghi Red Bull Racing, pretty good job.
Yeah, they're back on the fours, but they're a long way behind. We've got American Magic right next to us here. And what's really noticeable up the size of their jib. So they learnt from yesterday where they came out and they looked a bit underpowered to me. They certainly have learnt from that, and now they're on the biggest sails in the inventory. And the boat looks a different boat. It's performing well. And as Glenn and Shirley have talked about, this next tack will be crucial as they come up into the top third, as they come ripping past us at whatever they're doing, 30, 35 knots. And that looks a pretty tidy tack. The boat looks powered up.
Yeah, Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Across our line, basically.
We could see it coming almost, couldn't we, in that pre-start? I mean, too close to American Magic in the bad air. So vulnerable.
And then in 20 seconds back the other way for a right turn. There's a little FK favoured, but I don't think it's worth the extra one.
Good job.
The rest pretty even. Nice lefty.
Good numbers here. Massive right here at the top, looking at them. It's up and down now. Let's set more pressure. Only to the battery.
Pretty critical tack, this one for American Magic. Coming to the top here, sure they really need to make sure they pull this off.
It's got a bit in the back now.
Yeah, no, good pressure.
Further we go.
Well, both teams have been exiting the tacks at around 21 knots of speed. It is right on the limit.
Little gust of the mark.
Coming into the top gate for the first time, and American Magic leading Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Everything somewhat on a knife edge with the conditions. They don't want to make any mistake whatsoever, because they'll open the door for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Both these teams searching for that first win in the Louis Vuitton Cup.
Fantastic shot of the foil there on the windward side of American Magic. Those foils really working hard in those light conditions to keep the boat above the water surface.
Gas back the other way. Happy we just go to bounce.
And quite light still. Yeah, let's go 180. In 25, vice right. Overshoot the line. Twice. Right turn, nice pressure just after the mark, the left turn. Pulling lighter just here. Pressure in
Alinghi Red Bull Racing will have to build a little bit of speed here to pull this tack off cleanly.
3, 2.
Nice, white tack. One channel above, 2, 1 for down.
Quite light.
And turning, nice pressure on the exit.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing approaching the top mark for the first time. The way they throw these AC75s about is just such a good watch wherever you're watching, whatever size screen you're watching. Doesn't matter whether you're watching on a phone or not, it still looks good as they hit the top mark for the first time. They are well behind American Magic. Take a look at the bottom left of your screen and see what the delta, how far behind they are. It's going to sit at about 1 minute and 27 seconds. Long way to go, though. Never say never in the America's Cup.
Just looking at the pressure.
Yeah, quite light, just in front of left. Happy to drive. Big righty, very big righty.
Really nice light air manoeuvres there by both teams. So it's all about nice, smooth, clean boat handling in these conditions.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1.2 nautical miles.
Okay, 20 seconds.
So you know what that means. The wind's getting lighter, the course becomes shorter, and the pressure ramps up on both teams.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing were a minute back at the start and a minute 27 at the top gate. So American Magic are performing well here. I know the priority is to stay on the foils, but really having good pace.
American Magic really sailing the boat cleanly there. We'll go on and see if we can have a little listen to the guys. Their comms are on the trim.
Time.
Out mine.
On the helm at the moment with that little green steering wheel is Paul Goodison,
Bottom's
who has
happy with
control
one
of
and
the
in
yacht, steering it down the course.
Yes, I am.
They got about 28 seconds either way. Just coming away a touch.
Nice. Really nice boat speed to this one.
Formation than all the other teams. The helm and the trim are side by side. I don't know what's better. I guess we'll find out at the end, but well positioned for a high five if they stay ahead in this race.
Well, the way they're going, surely there might be the odd high five thrown across the boat because they're in a strong position against Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
I'd be happy to go here.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate again, shortening the course to 1.1 nautical miles.
Now, if you're on the helm of one of these boats, you take a little suck in there, don't you? Go, okay, just got a little bit more difficult. We're going to be really on our game.
Yeah, each of these manoeuvres just really critical. Obviously, the straight line you can coast through some lulls, but if you sail into a light air patch, really difficult to pull off a clean manoeuvre.
American Magic representing the New York Yacht Club. Remember, this is the yacht club that held the America's Cup for 132 years. And you can imagine, desperate to get it back in their trophy cabinet. And they hit the bottom gate for the first time. They'll take the right-hand mark as you see it. Around they go.
Really clean mark rounding there. American Magic, beautiful ride height control on the foil.
Now it's big left.
It's a big day for American Magic. 2 races.
Let's go on to the chase boat with Coach Tom Burnham. Just briefly, Coach, nice clean start. Boat looks good.
Yeah, so far so good, but it's pretty scary out here. It gets pretty light down at the bottom of the race course, as we saw, so a lot can still happen in this race, but the guys are doing a great job so far.
Thanks for your time, Tom.
Really important that Alinghi Red Bull Racing lay into this bottom gate here without having to do a manoeuvre.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing coming into the bottom mark, trying to find some speed to break down that gap, which at the top mark was 1 minute and 27 seconds. Well, they have picked up time, but you would probably expect that coming downwind. Get it around. Hang on.
Dig it out, boys.
Not what the doctor ordered at all. Off the foils at the bottom mark, Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Keep pushing. Pulling track to leeward, to have attachment. Again. Right here.
Real disappointment there for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Super difficult manoeuvre there at the bottom to get through the gate, and they will have their work cut out for them now.
Let's go to chase zero with Peter Lesser. Ouch is what I'm thinking about that move, Pete.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Alinghi, but they sort of, the managing the bottom third of the course in terms of downwind is, you've got to be so accurate in terms of ley lines. And the other thing for me is the downwind leg is the hard one in terms of keeping the boat flying, because you're worrying on apparent wind speed to keep the boat in the air. When going up into the wind, you've got a little bit more apparent wind speed, a little bit more flexibility.
Slowly touching breeze.
Yeah, just having a look at the exit there of this, just right on edge and possibly not just getting quite deep enough on the mainsail there on that exit of that jibe. Traveller up around the ears, but quite flat, and you can see the depth there now in the rig. Obviously having a look at the team there, they'll be watching. Awesome. Sitting on the edge of their seat there, just going, crikeys.
All the way for the breeze.
Not over though. One mistake by American Magic, and the game can change.
It's a big day for American Magic. Got 2 races. No wins yesterday, a massive amount of expectation on this team. They're not new and shiny, this is their second go at it, and really have put everything into it. The principal, Doug DeVos, is here. He's in the coach boat every day, and I can imagine in the team it is critical to get some wins today.
You mentioned about that pressure. I'll get back to that in just a moment, Shirl.
I'm back. Got pressure coming down.
Yeah, Alinghi there just trying to accelerate their boat down to course.
It's coming.
Really brutal there.
Yeah, one of the sailors out the cockpit, pulling the jib round.
Yeah, when you're so down speed like that, you basically don't have much steerage on those little tiny rudders, you know, down speed. So it's all about sail management to actually aero steer the boat down the course. Big traveller ease, pull the jib up, drag the bow around. get the boat lined up, and then actually start accelerating forward. So
A bit more main tension.
not much fun on board there at the moment.
You look at that view there and you can see American Magic in the distance, and I'm sure they're not even worried about that.
American Magic have come off the foil, Stephen, up the top of the course there. They've tacked and they're just off the foils. Can they dig it out? Big moment for American Magic here.
So another twist in the story of race 5. American Magic off the foils. Peter?
We're right on American Magic's transom, and they're just getting lift off now. So that's a pretty good recovery, but we were all holding our breath. The other thing I'm seeing with American Magic, setting up with a little bit more camber, and also the cant of the foil arm is right underneath the boat. So there's a wee bit of windward heel, but the foil arm and the wings are pretty well tucked right under the boat to just reduce that riding moment so that the boat can power up.
This is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, shortening the course to 0.9 nautical miles and shifting the axis to 130.
American Magic's tacks were getting riskier and riskier. They were coming out at 19, 18. It was an inevitability about that.
Let's have a look at the replay here of American Magic's tack. So quite a fast turn. Just not getting enough lift there off the foil. And when you're sailing in these light air conditions, you know, you take more lift, you get more riding moment. You don't want to roll to windward and touch the windward side of the boat down to that delicate balance between controlling the sails and the foils and using your hull all in one.
And a whole lot of pain for the Cyclors. This is full on. This is the hardest conditions for the guys at the back.
It is, and you see the tacking angle that they've gone through there to try and execute that manoeuvre. You know, they've come out at around 75 to 80 true wind angle, almost going across the course to make sure they stay foiling to get through this gate and give themselves a chance of getting downwind cleanly.
American Magic completing the halfway mark of race number 5 in the Louis Vuitton Cup. A touchdown just before this. There is so much more to come in this race. Hang on as they get around and go on that downward leg. Leg number 4 for American Magic.
Really nice job there by American Magic. It does look like Alinghi Red Bull Racing heading over to the left-hand side of the course are up on the foils here now. They will also be looking at getting a manoeuvre in here and trying to keep the race alive with American Magic. American Magic having to pull this jibe off on this right boundary now.
Stand by. Forward down in 3, 2, 1. Forward down. And turning. Fix power.
So as you can see at the top of your screen, Alinghi Red Bull Racing up and foiling. And what's going on with American Magic?
I think American Magic are okay. They just dug themselves out of that hole and they're away on board Alinghi Red Bull Racing, doing a really nice job with that tack. This race is absolutely not over, although there's a big distance between the boats. This race is definitely not over.
Both boats now not making any traction upwind or downwind. They're literally going across the course. They're mowing the lawn back and forward, just trying to keep flying.
Yep, and they are absolutely doing everything they can with that aero package. You look at the camber, they're just on the foils here. Alinghi Red Bull Racing, 21 knots of boat speed dropping, and they are on the edge of stall of the foil, of stall of the aero. Both boats just staying on the foils here at the moment in super light air. So
was going back downwind.
Right here as well.
We have seen lots of changes to the boat to make them more efficient in this kind of wind speed. They're lighter, there's less people, they're more powerful. The foils are longer and thinner, but still you need some wind. And the waves actually not helping either.
Both these teams are working their boats to stay on the foils in race 5 of the Louis Vuitton Cup.
Swiss penalty, cancelled, advantage rule.
Oh, American Magic, can they dig the boat out? Huge exit angle there. You see the stall of the Woolies on the leeward side there. They are down. And they're going to have to do a rebuild. So, both boats off the foils.
Better pressure this way.
All about getting back on the foils here for both teams. So, American Magic there just not having enough power from Mother Nature there to stay on the foils.
Tom Slingsby's been up and down like in his cockpit like a jack-in-the-box, just checking and using his eyes to say, where is the wind?
That slightly more elevated view by standing up there and having a look, and in these conditions you just sort of sack the aero off from your helmet and stand up and have a look, because it's all about sailing in a bit more breeze.
All it needs is one good puff for Alinghi Red Bull Racing to find something, and it's game back on. Peter on the water. Wow, this is turning into something, isn't it, Pete?
Well, a la Auckland in 2020, 2021, but I think we've just found the bottom of the range for both boats. Before they touched down, I just thought American Magic looked like they could foil a little earlier, but then the wind dropped, and right now looking across the course, it looks very light. And this one could be determined. If one of these boats can get back up on the foils, and even Alinghi, who are a long way behind on the track, there's still a chance for them. They'll keep fighting on.
Pressure coming.
It's 15.
Here we go, boys.
This is the race committee. We are shortening the course to 4 legs. The finish will be at the next leeward gate. Finish at the leeward gate.
So, American Magic are on leg 4. Alinghi Red Bull Racing are still on that upwind leg of leg number 3.
Just try and touch more travel.
How's this one going to come out?
I think we're watching American Magic here building speed. 17.3. They look like they will almost take off. They'll need to take off, build speed, and then get their jibe in before they get to the boundary. So,
yeah, building speed as much as 20 seconds. My trap.
It's 15.
Okay, stand by.
10.
We're down in 3, 2, 1. We're down. It's going to be low jump. And turning.
really important manoeuvre. An actual attack there by American Magic. Attack actually being able to keep you in clearer air.
Touchdown again, American Magic.
I don't think it has made the difference. Super light, but it looks like they're in a little bit of breeze there, possibly for a rebuild. They've got all the width of the course to get the boat popped up here, and I think they look like they'll get popped again here if they can do a good job. Really, really light. Only about 3.5 to 4 knots of breeze in some of the parts of the course there. If you're on a normal boat here, you'd be doing about 2 knots going downwind, so
I don't think there's a chance.
just for reference.
It is worth probably just
average pressure now in the course is between 6 and 7, which is right at the bottom range. Cup race.
American Magic doing everything they can there to get their
max power. Okay, so
shovels out. Dig like buggery to get themselves out of this big hole. They've got to get to the course. If they time out, they get no point for the race, so they need to get down to the finish before the race does time out.
45-minute, the time limit for a race. I think we're 20-something in
Here we go, going hard, boys. We're going to go Traveller out.
Next question is, what's happening with Alinghi Red Bull Racing? Becalmed is what it is right now. They're having
a Barry Crocker.
A Barry Crocker, which in Australian slang is they're having a shocker.
This will be a really important manoeuvre by American Magic here. Most important jibe of the day, potentially.
Just trying to go as fast as we can.
Yeah, I'm with you.
110.
15 seconds. Straight. Okay. 10, 9, 8. Okay.
One.
Go here.
Go forward. Turning. 2, 1, whatever.
I'm listening to the Cyclor is absolutely bust a gut here.
Resetting.
and then down again, American Magic. Hang on.
It's all about just getting the boat down to the gate now.
Not getting downwind doing this.
Just want to try displacement.
So as you can see, they're actually trying to get to that finish line
the time limits and
at
stuff.
the bottom of your screen, inside the time limit to score the point.
Try to sail at sort of this.
"21 minutes still in hand,
He's still trying to take off.
inside the time limit."
Don't see us taking off here.
Same, I think this is the right thing to do from here.
Listening to the console
Do we know
board.
how long we've got?
Stay locked in, boys.
Yeah, we're max trap down.
Yeah, interesting to the comms aboard American Magic. They've decided the right thing to do is to stop trying to fly and actually sail in displacement mode. I mean, they are doing nearly 10 knots. They are making some progress towards the finish, and they now have 20 minutes to get there.
It's going to be a long 20 minutes for the guys on the boat. Probably a long 20 minutes for us here in the commentary booth too, I think. But Alinghi Red Bull Racing, you know, trying to take off there, just getting to sort of 14 knots of boat speed. And these hulls are really designed super efficiently, and they will take off in very, very light air. But if you just don't have enough force from the wind, you don't generate enough power in the sails, and you'll basically tap out. You'll get to a terminal velocity around that sort of 13, 14, 15 knots of boat speed, and you just won't have enough power to continue to punch through the drag bucket and actually get the boat to take off. So you can see them slowing down now, basically sailing across the course instead of going down like American Magic are.
Alinghi has the muscle under the hull for, you know, for end plating, for stopping the vortices underneath. I mean, how does that affect taking off in such a light position?
Yeah, most hulls these days very aerodynamic, and the aerodynamics play a big part. But you know, we see hydrodynamic, old school hull designs coming into play here. So interesting listening to both teams of how they're actually sailing their boats in these displacement conditions, and they're certainly not designed to sail displacement. But that's what they're having to do at the moment.
That's probably the best option. I think a chive's going to take a long time.
True.
When you look at what we're seeing here, you can see American Magic are making progress towards the finish line. It's slow progress, but they're making progress. It'll be close to 20, 19 minutes thereabouts to get to that finish line to earn the point. And man, they will have earned it today if they get there in time.
Just worried about short jiving down there.
So Tommy Slingsby there, full tactician world. Mike Meninger also having a bit of a look around as well. Not much foil trimming going on to fly the boat in these conditions. You pretty much sign off and go to the pub as a foil trimmer at the moment. I think basically the leeward helmsman will be guiding the boat down, and windward helmsman, they're basically looking for breeze and being a sort of an old school tactician navigator.
Just go to this boundary just because it gives us more runway as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I've got some numbers from our team of data analysts. They have 1,100 meters to go downwind to the finish line, and when they try and foil, it takes them 5 minutes to do 50 meters downwind. That's not a good ratio. And also, they must finish by 12 minutes past flop in order to get the win.
So they might have started out confident about getting a win, and Mother Nature might just deny them a win, and most importantly, the point.
It's important to know here in the sort of race rules, once the race actually can be started and we do meet the criteria to actually start the race, you do then just have the time limit to meet. So if the wind does drop below the 6.5 knot limit, can drop down to 0, you have 45 minutes to complete the race. So important one to note that the race is still alive for that 45-minute window.
But it's cruel, isn't it? It's cruel. No points.
It's cruel for us all, Stephen. It's hurting my eyes watching it, but it is what it is. But you can see there after that manoeuvre, Colton Hall and Tim Hornsby there, still having to put in a huge amount of power, and their heart rate after doing that manoeuvre of basically driving all those hydraulic functions through is still a big job, even this light air, to actually put enough energy in the boat to actually put the sail plan where you need it, even in these sort of really drift-off sort of conditions.
Okay, guys, taking it easy there. Don't blow yourself.
If you're a keen cyclist, you might be looking at the watts and thinking, I could do that. I'm telling you, not on a fixed wheel where you're all joined up together.
Down a little right here.
Yeah, I was working at about a 120 true wind.
Yeah, copy. Just watch the heel, it feels...
Yeah.
Flatter boat, we can get the
By my
better.
calculations, 17 minutes to go or thereabouts for American Magic to make it to the finish line and earn an ugly win, but most importantly, the point. Pete, what are you seeing down there?
We're at the top mark. Now, Alinghi have just jumped back up onto the foils, so that would be a warning for American Magic. They can't do a lot about it, but certainly breeze on again at the top mark. Alinghi, if they can pull off this next tack and get round this top mark and then come down the course with this little building breeze. In fact, right now, looking further out, there's certainly better breeze coming down the course.
This is the umpires, boundary penalty Swiss, turned penalty complete, advantage rule.
Okay, they did stay on the boat.
So, sorry, Stephen, I was just having a look there at the way Alinghi was sailing the boat. They're back up there, obviously, but Paul Goodison and Tom Slingsby, both Moth world champions and fantastic sailors at balancing a really skinny, narrow boat in super light air. So both those guys really, really doing a good job with the team, keeping the boat nice and level there. They've gone, we see a bit of pressure, we are going to try and take off, and you can see they're building now for a pop. If they can get foiling, they'll be able to pull that manoeuvre in. They're making no distance to the gate at the moment, but if they can get popped here, they will be making a big gain downwind shortly.
You have 5 minutes after they finish. Let me just think about if you do shut it down.
We are on a lane.
American Magic up and forwarding, so close to their first win of the Louis Vuitton Cup. They've got 2 races today. If they get the win here, that's a huge confidence boost, with one still to come a little bit later on against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
American Magic saw more pressure on that right-hand side, and it was a game of patience, really, wasn't it? Building the pace as you got into it, and hopefully enough pace to get to the finish.
Right on the edge there of being able to repop just at the takeoff speed there, around 19 knots. I think they've been able to do it, but they're pretty much coming back across the course. They'll be right. They'll keep building from there.
You can see at the top of your screen, Alinghi Red Bull Racing going around the top mark. They might just have ran out of time. My word.
The turtle in the hair.
American Magic are crawling their way to the finish of race 5 in the Louis Vuitton Cup. You just feel like you want to pull them across the line and say, come on, and they are doing it. Inching their way closer to the finish line.
It's a bit more stressful than it needed to be, eh?
And they are across, and first points for American Magic in the Louis Vuitton Cup. It may have been ugly, but it doesn't matter. They got the point.
Certainly not the most exciting finish of the regatta thus far, but a point is a point, and it doesn't matter how you get there, Shirley. You just got to get your bow over the line at the end of the day. So, well done to the American Magic team. Great job getting the boat round on the foils. You know, a little bit more than what Alinghi Red Bull Racing did. So, hats off to the team there.
Yeah, a great win. I mean, they didn't panic at all.
You got to stay cool. You got to be like the Fonz in these sort of races. You got to be cool, and that's exactly what the American Magic team done. Alinghi Red Bull Racing, though, sailing the boat really nicely, and a little bit unlucky there. Just really in that pre-start, that's what set it up off the foils, and that was the race.
enough breeze here and to go all the way.
I think in all the build-up to the start, there had been a little bit more pressure. I mean, there'd been chat about changing up the jib, and I just wonder if Alinghi Red Bull Racing came into that pre-start expecting, more pace and being able to be more aggressive in the box.
Just a knot of wind speed in these really light airs is such a massive percentage change in power and thrust that the rigs can provide. So might have just sailed into a light patch and come off, but all good lessons. And plenty of racing to come.
Let's go on to Chase Zero with Peter Lester. Peter, looking up at what Alinghi Red Bull Racing is doing at the moment. Sailing that we expected to see with good wind. Has it picked up a little bit on the course?
Yeah, it was certainly picking up when they came round the top mark. They probably just ran out of racetrack, to be honest. And American Magic did play that displacement game, I thought, really well. And strategically, when they decided to go from half of the course, that was good decision making. For Alinghi Red Bull Racing, they've come down this leg pretty well, but the heartening thing is it does look like the wind is just going to be up for the next 20 minutes or so.
Which team? 2, 1, fall down. Yours, +1.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing coming to the bottom mark for the final time in a shortened race of race 5 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. They've finished strong, but it's all too late. American Magic have taken the win, and Alinghi Red Bull Racing will now be scratching their heads. They are 0-2.
Yeah, going on the left, left boundary, far right boundary.
Keep soft trim.
Confirmation of the result of race 5 in the Louis Vuitton Cup, and a 2 minute and 58-second win to New York Yacht Club's American Magic against Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Well, it was a race full of action, but most of it in slow motion, and really difficult moment there for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Quite close behind the Americans in all their bad air and off the foils, which left a pretty easy start for American Magic, all about their time and distance. They were off and running.
Snakes and ladders from there, wasn't it? It was really a game of off and on the foils for both teams, and ultimately American Magic there just staying on their foils a little longer throughout the race than Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
American Magic did well to negotiate really difficult conditions and took the win. First win for the American team.
Let's go on board American Magic, talk to Tom Slingsby, who was up and down out of that cockpit like a jack-in-the-box. Tom, maybe an ugly, but you get the point. That's what matters.
Yeah, no, it wasn't pretty at all, but yeah, it's just tough conditions. You get a nice gust of sort of 8.5 knots, and then it comes down to sort of 5.5, and it's a real battle to stay on the foils. So, look, yeah, we got the win, but there's plenty we can do to improve too. So, yeah, good signs.
Nice work, Tommy. Certainly kept it interesting for us here in the commentary booth. Thanks, mate. It was certainly not the most dramatic of finishes, but you did well to dig yourself out of a few big holes in the water there. So great work to the Cyclors, I'd imagine, for you guys.
Yeah, those guys copped a whipping. You would think in the light airs they might get a bit of a reprieve, but I can hear them going back over here in first class behind me and on the lay-down seats, but they are working their ass off even in this light stuff. So, yeah, I would have loved to foil across the line for you guys, but we just wanted to do whatever it took to get across there.
Nice work, mate. We'll see you up against Luna Rossa later on the day.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go on to Arno Soderfergis at Alinghi. Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Arnaud, what do you make of that?
Well, I think it's, it was a quite painful race for us, but we really fight all the way to the end. You never know what could happen. Kind of miss a few opportunities. Yeah, I think a full credit on the guys on the bike. They did an amazing job to get us on the foil a few times, but that was just not enough. Yeah, some good learning, and tomorrow it's another day, and a lot of races to go, so we're looking forward to it.
I know I hate to say this right at the beginning of the regatta, but you're 0-2. Are you starting to feel a little bit of pressure now?
No, absolutely not. It doesn't matter if you lose 2 races or 3 races. It's what happened next. So we focus on that.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a great graphic. Wind blowing from the bottom all the way to the top, and they're really trying to get foiling, and just look at them mowing the lawn back and forward, and eventually taking the decision to go into full displacement mode and actually make some progress towards that finish line at the top of the screen.
You saw them working hard today. The role of the Cyclor on AC75 is one of the hardest positions in any sport. It's outrageously physically demanding. They are the toughest of the tough, and logic would suggest cycling produces the best recruits, but that's not always the case.
Our role as cyclers at American Magic is to make sure that the afterguard can sail however they want. And so we need to work as smart and as hard so that all of the guys trimming all these functions can get exactly what they want at the precise moment that they want it.
When you're going through a maneuver like a barroway, roundup, tack, or jibe, that's when they're trimming the sails the most, that's when they're moving everything, so that's when they need the most power.
The power team's built up of many sports.
A lot of rowers. We have some swimmers, and we have some people from track cycling. And we're able to combine those strengths to get the max performance out of the yacht. The relationship between the rowers and the cyclists on the power team, I think is very good. You know, I'm obviously on the rowing side of things, so I'd be interested to hear what the track cyclists would like to say.
I'm not a big numbers guy. When I first got the phone call for this job, they asked me what I could do for 20 minutes, and I was like, I don't know. I can win races. The rowers are very keen on the numbers, and honestly, that's how they communicate. That's how they greet with each other downstairs. Like, they'll look at each other and be like, what's your erg score, before they even say hi.
Gosh, John's awesome. I mean, he's always such a positive guy. Like, when we raced together, he would do, usually the first half of the race, he was really strong there. Like, just absolutely massive sprint power. So, I mean, his 1 minute power is just insane.
Ashton Lambie is probably one of the chillest guys, and almost to like a frustrating point. Like, he's just like, oh, it doesn't matter. He just brushes it off. But he's probably one of the most like secret, closeted, hardworking dudes that you'll ever meet. I remember in cycling, he was like, I'm gonna be the first man to go under 4 minutes and 10 seconds. And I was like, all right, man, people have been trying to do that for like 6 years. Sure enough, did it. And then he was like, I'm gonna be the first man to go under 4 minutes. Sure enough, I'm the first man to go under 4 minutes. So while he is super chill and super relaxed, the amount of effort he puts into something when he wants something is unreal.
Instead of doing upright bikes like traditional bikes, we're actually doing recumbent bikes on our boat. We're all facing backwards, which has been super fun. Personally, I've never felt like we could win more than seeing us be the only team going recumbent. I won just by doing a lot of weird stuff that other people weren't doing. And so I think the fact that we're doing that, I'm like 100% on board with that. It's great, yeah.
I think ultimately we're in a job that requires watts. Even if you come from a different sporting background, we're all here for the same reason, right? Which is to sail boats really fast and ultimately to win the America's Cup.
So the beautiful coast off Barcelona, that's a Barceloneta beach. You can see right there, actually, no, I might be wrong. That's a Bogadell, further up the coast, about 2 or 3 minutes bike ride further north of where we are. And it is busy from about 8 o'clock in the morning. It is just unbelievable, the lifestyle here in Barcelona. And the architecture, the way the city is set up. I've got to say, many cities could take a good look at the way Barcelona's infrastructure is set up, and most of us are riding to work on a day in bike lanes, surely, that are magical. You can't lose yourself in the city. That's the Arts Hotel, the one to the right that you were seeing, and along with the W Hotel, they are kindly giving us access to our cameras to bring you aerial shots of the Sagrada Familia, which is absolutely chock-a-block with tourists in this European summer. So it's race 6, Emirates against Ineos Britannia. And as we say, it's a start that has to be done. You will not see Emirates Team New Zealand out on the course, Shirley Robertson, because they are inside the shed fixing the boat. And if you are just joining us now, particularly if you're a fan of Ineos Britannia, and if you haven't heard the news last night, Emirates Team New Zealand had an accident with the boat on the cradle and are fixing their boat, so they are not racing today. There was encouraging news, Shirley, coming from CEO Grant Dalton this morning, 12 hours after the boat went inside the shed, to say that, hey, we could be racing tomorrow, which is stunning, but they'll want to make sure that everything is right. But when you think about what we know and what we learned about the boat, that's just stunning.
They are very good at making the impossible possible. And as you say, in 12 hours, they had not only assessed the damage, but really got well and truly stuck into making it happen. I mean, I would expect to see them out in the next few days, if not for racing, at least for just testing everything. Ineos Britannia, under the regulations, they have to start this race, but also I think they will use it as a learning exercise. They'll practice their pre-start on their own and get a chance to sail in these really, really quite difficult conditions.
Got the win yesterday, albeit that American Magic came off their foils, and we've seen a bit of that today. But most importantly, and you look at this team, the confidence of this team would have been hugely boosted, because you feel there is so much pressure on this team.
This is the race committee. We failed the wind limit again. We'll try again for a start at 15:22.
Not from, it's coming from the Royal Yacht Squadron, but also fans at home. They desperately want the old mug back there. I mean, this is where it all began back there, right?
There's a lot of expectation. I mean, also, I'm sure Ben feels a lot of expectation. It's his third America's Cup challenge under his own name with his own team, and you know, this time on paper anyway, it should look better than ever. They're well resourced by Jim Ratcliffe of Ineos. They had the collaboration of Mercedes, the F1 team, and have a stellar lineup of sailors. So they have all the ingredients, but it's not so straightforward in the America's Cup to pull it all together at the right time.
As we see some photos there, pictures on the chase boat, you've got a huge team behind the scenes, and hello everybody there. Hello Robbie Wilson, who's a great mate and a fantastic yachty himself behind the scenes. There's definitely a lot of good people, so it is a big group effort.
Okay, so we're about 8 minutes to go for an official start, and that's what the most important thing is. 8 minutes and there to go before they have to cross the line to make it an official race. And is this a good thing or a bad thing for Ineos to have to do this? I'm always intrigued as to what they gain out of this.
Well, at the end of the day, every minute on the water is gains for the team. You're going through your processes, you're going through the routine, you're getting up in the morning, you're having your Weet-Bix and your cereal, you're going through the process and following that process for the whole team.
This is the race committee. We failed the wind test. We'll try again for a start at 15:24.
Is really important to do.
I mean, I completely agree. Every day is a school day. They're also getting to observe the racetrack in another condition in race mode, and you know, they'll be soaking it all in.
The challenge here, of course, is light wind and how you can test your boat in conditions, not conditions that are below the official wind limits, but to see how your boat reacts. I think Ben said in the first press conference of the week, he said the boat that can, you know, the team that will get to that Louis Vuitton final will be the one that can produce the most potential out of their boat, and that's critical in this regatta.
Yeah, Ben knows that as well as quite a lot of them. Part of the Oracle team in San Francisco that, you know, really was involved in the biggest comeback the sport has ever seen, and he knows it's about momentum and learning and keeping that drive and that intensity day on day. And they would not have wanted to have been sitting in the shed today. They'd have wanted to be out here watching and hopefully, you know, getting at least part of a race.
Looking up the course, you know, some of those little puffs that are coming through, sort of showcasing 7 and 8 knots of breeze at times, but it's that average wind speed of 6.5 knots that we have to see. And the race committee, Ian Murray, extremely experienced sailor himself, been involved in.
This is the race committee. We failed the wind test again. We will be rotating the course and advising a new start time as soon as possible.
Tidy all that.
Speak of the Devils coming through there, both very, very experienced, and Ian Murray basically been involved with a lot of regattas over the years, not just within the America's Cup, but other, you know, numerous world championships, other circuits, other series. Very, very, very experienced campaigner, and certainly someone that you want to have running races for you at high stakes.
So as we wait for a start officially in race number 6 of the Louis Vuitton Cup, the one thing that we always think about is that power, more speed. The AC75 class rule was tweaked to improve light wind performance. In some parts of the boat are supplied the mast, the rigging, the foil cant arms and hydraulics, and they're all stock components, but there are still plenty of areas the designers can experiment with to find the winning edge.
Ineos Britannia is the challenge of record for the 37th America's Cup. The challenge of record is the one challenger that negotiates the conditions and the rules under which the America's Cup is held. And that's clearly an advantage. It is not a huge advantage, but it is an advantage.
Having someone as senior as Martin Fisher is in the design space of a team that was involved in developing this class rule has been a key part to making sure that the Formula One designers we have involved in our project get up to speed as quickly as possible.
So I've been very lucky to be involved in America's Cup, Formula One, and then back in America's Cup. A lot of people think, what can possibly be in common between an America's Cup boat and a Formula One car? Well, actually, it's the whole process of the design, it's the technology.
Formula One and high-level sailing are very technical sports, so there's lots of overlap, even though a boat doesn't have wheels and Formula One boat doesn't have sails. But in both areas we deal with complex mechanical systems, hydraulic systems, electronic systems. A Formula One car is aerodynamically extremely complex. They have done in the past a huge amount of research to deal with such a complicated shape. So there's a huge amount of knowledge in the Formula One world that we can use.
So this America's Cup is the second time that we've been running the AC75 class. We're expecting there to be a lot of evolutions from the learnings from the first round, but also there's an opportunity for development. I think as Challenger record, it gave us the opportunity to discuss the regulation, discuss where it should be, how it should evolve, and what would be beneficial for the class.
Up to this event, racing has only been held in more or less flat water conditions. So in waves, you will be forced to sail a certain amount of the time quite far off your design conditions, and the boat must be able to cope with that. I think with the help from Mercedes, we have been able to put together a very structured process for the design. So I think I hope that that is one of our strong points. Winning the America's Cup with this team, and even more so for me as the chief designer of this team, for me that's the holy grail of yacht design. So after that I can stop.
Live pictures off Ineos Britannia and their chase boat. Ben Ainsley discussing what's going on. Doesn't look that flash at the moment, does it? We're trying to get race 6 underway. It's just that Ineos Britannia minus Emirates Team New Zealand have to cross the line for it to be a legitimate race, as you heard Glenn say earlier before. But I'd look at those sails and there's not much going on, Glenn.
Certainly turning into a bit of a drift-off out there today.
This is the race committee. We will try again now for a start at 15:30.
So another delay there. You know, the breeze really bouncing around, you know, quite a lot, and I think it's one of those days here that we might struggle potentially to see much more. You don't need much with these boats, these new generation boats, to get up and get ripping around the track, and we're just on the bottom end of it. But we'll stay tuned. Mother Nature provides gifts at odd times, and without her, we wouldn't be here.
It's not a great sign when both the drivers are in the rib, I'm thinking. Both Ben Ainsley and Dylan Fletcher just enjoying a refreshment with his team.
Just a note, if we don't get any racing at this particular point in time, we're going to take an absolute cracker of a race from yesterday. That was between Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli and Emirates Team New Zealand. So rest assured, though, if racing does get underway, we will bail out and bring you live racing on day 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. There's a little sign. Sailors hopping back on the boat.
It's generally half a reasonable sign that something might be happening, and just looking at the water there, hopefully we'll get some more breeze.
So let's bring you some racing. We're not seeing anything at the moment, but there is an encouraging sign that the Cell team from Ineos Britannia are getting themselves back into their cockpits. Let's take you back to race 2, day 1 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. A cracker of a race. It was a replay, really, of one of the match races in AC36. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli against Emirates Team New Zealand.
Luna Rossa waiting for the Kiwis to attack.
We have still a little bit to kill. Happy to wait? Okay, happy to go now.
I'll let you go here.
Racing team 4-9. Good timing here.
Inside the last 10 seconds, 2 of the slickest teams to go racing are about to fight it out in race 2. And they're both good to go. Race 2, Louis Vuitton Cup in Barcelona.
Super even start there, both teams. Slightly different approach, not wanting to engage, but Italians in a squeeze mode here, trying to close the gauge there with Emirates Team New Zealand.
How's it look on the right boundary? It's good. Over the slot. Let's keep VMG good here. Doing well.
The voice of Nathan Outridge, Port-Helm with Emirates Team New Zealand.
And 5, 3, 2, 1, point down. Nice placement.
It's so hard to live there, Glenn. We saw them getting closer and closer together.
I'm open pressure, I think.
I think Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli just charging the batteries a little more, accelerating, getting over speed in that pre-start, and actually hitting the line with just a little more pace, which has transpired into a little game there as we tack across to the right-hand side of the course.
Onto the water, chase 0. Pete, your thoughts on that start?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I thought Emirates Team New Zealand being really high like that, it was all about time on distance. Luna Rossa were right on the button in terms of their wind-up when the start went off, and they managed to gauge up underneath Emirates Team New Zealand. New Zealand now coming across to the right-hand side. Breeze-wise, it looks a lot more even than it did earlier. So I don't think it's as strong on the left as it was, but first cross coming up.
Decision time for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli right now.
Continuing. It's a good one in 15 on the bow, I think, Andy.
Can't let you go all the way to there for now.
I'll keep watching on Tracy. There's a righty there, Pete.
That's nice placement, though.
Make sure to go flat on sails here.
Real nice. You shouldn't see it knock from here.
So if they don't go to lay, what do you reckon?
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli is not really engaging today. It's like it's about their own execution.
They remember the penalties from the last race of the final of the preliminary regatta, where they were aggressive as anything and just got pinged by penalty after penalty.
Interesting decision there. They're obviously seen something on the bow there to actually carry on. I really thought they would have actually gone for the slam dunk on Emirates Team New Zealand there, but possibly strategically their plan was to head to the right for pressure. Next cross going to be really, really critical here. Not much in it. Right of way boat is Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Possibly a left turn lay for Luna Rossa. Emirates Team New Zealand having to tack.
Happy to go straight if they don't take it.
It is everything you expect from two of the big dogs in the regatta. A close tussle. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli going around that left marker's U-set to complete the top leg, the upward leg, and they'll be closely followed by Emirates Team New Zealand.
All the way down.
As we are out of phase. Just as the pressure looks good. A nice lefty here though, right?
Happy to just keep in this lefty.
Fantastic race here. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
Right now I just go to boundary.
Putting the clamps on Emirates Team New Zealand.
Okay, nice.
They made the gain on the left early at the bottom, so we'll be sailing back into some of this pressure soon. I'd say on boundary we might lift.
Great shot of that aero screen over the cockpits of the helms. Someone remarked to me the other day, it looks like a Spitfire cockpit, an old World War II plane.
Let's go.
Certainly running on all cylinders here on the old radial in the Spitfire.
Hello, lefty, okay? So we are in phase.
I don't think Rolls-Royce Merlin would sound the same as what Luna Rossa is sounding like at the moment. Fantastic jibe there, pumping the cant under the boat, exiting the jibe, getting the heel transition, and then pumping the cant back out again, or easing it back out. Nice lead there, Shirley.
Emirates Team New Zealand have made a gain on that right-hand side. Nothing in it now.
This looks quite good front to me.
Fantastic race here.
Right at the bottom too.
Right of way boat, Luna Rossa.
No boats having to change course there. Absolute fantastic race. All about the pressure coming into the bottom sector of this course here now.
Now this righty will be here on the upwind. Starting to lift now.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, lengthening the course to 1.5 nautical miles.
If it goes later in front, would we ever go before?
Well, that's a good sign. Longer course, more wind.
That's simple. After the delayed start we had, Barcelona has come to play.
Slightly comfortable lowline job. And then
you call it, mate.
Emirates Team New Zealand trying to cut down that narrow lead that Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli have.
Emirates Team New Zealand done very well on this downwind leg.
So slight left phase for us here, but it will probably get righty somewhere up this bit. Bottom right doesn't look super strong to me.
And they gained a little on the last phase.
So you probably take the right mark with an early tap.
Left phase right, we follow. Yeah, follow.
Yep.
Here we go.
Luno Rossa, Prada Pirelli continue to lead Emirates Team New Zealand in race 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup, but there is nothing in it. The Italian boat goes around. Around goes Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender.
Both really aggressive one-board roundups from both teams there in this lighter breeze, just having enough grip to really rail the boats hard round that sort of hairpin turn, if you like, and nothing in this race at the moment.
If this is a sign of things to come in the Louis Vuitton Cup, we are all in for a treat.
I'm waiting a little longer, guys. Stand by. In 3, 2, 1.
On board to Luno Rossa Prada Pirelli's chase boat, Philippe Presti joins us right now, the coach. Philippe, this is a great way to start the Louis Vuitton Cup, even though for this race there are no points on board, so it's a good indicator of where you stand.
That's a great start for the boys, and always a split start, which is a little bit nerve-wracking, but it sounds like our boys read the breeze pretty nicely so far, so
I can see you're pretty
to the action.
I can see you're pretty involved there, so I'm going to leave you alone. Thanks for your time as always, Philippe.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Talking about the lead bow tack here, so expect the tack shortly off Luno Rossa Prada Pirelli to really shut the door on Emirates Team New Zealand here. So Luno Rossa, Prada Pirelli surely obviously quite keen to protect that top right. They did make a gain there previously, and they're obviously pretty happy with the right-hand side of the course there. Having a look at the wind field though, maybe what they're seeing on the water, i.e. you can actually see a little more pressure there. Obviously, Emirates Team New Zealand sailing into a little one there, but then having to tack back into a lighter puff. So Luno Rossa Prada Pirelli obviously seeing something there. Don't want to head across to that light-hand breeze on the left-hand side of the course, left middle.
The wind farm we see is obviously real time. If you're sailing on board, you're perhaps looking further ahead.
Very similar to before. If anything, a small gain to us, but very similar. Actually, no gain. We can protect the right if we want.
Decision time, Luno Rossa, Prada Pirelli.
3, 2, 1, more down.
Back on. Bots, little high mode here. High wheel. Windward here. There's better breeze in 5, quite a helly one.
-1.
High wheel. He's holding, so just...
Yeah, high mode here.
Coming up on it, mate.
Very, very difficult position for Emirates Team New Zealand to hang here. They have made a gain with their extra speed, as the speed's equal.
Got him now, mate. Close to lane.
See.
Down. Switch in their turn in, slow. Your wheel, mate.
Watch the high mode after the tack.
High mode on exit, please. And button.
Oh, fantastic race here. Both boats. Now the back
Currently
foot
laying at this peak. I know you're watching them.
is Luno Rossa Prada Pirelli. Big gains there around the bow.
The change. How good is this?
Huge move there in that tack. Massive high slow mode there. Emirates Team New Zealand really shutting down Luno Rossa Prada Pirelli as they come into the top part of the course here.
A huge squeeze by the Kiwis. Luno Rossa had no chance, did he, to accelerate?
As we head towards the top gate to complete the halfway mark, we've had a lead change. Beautifully done by Emirates Team New Zealand. They now lead Luno Rossa Prada Pirelli in race 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup.
I think it's all clear. The last shot down the right was strong. So
this is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, shifting the course axis to 102 and lengthening to 1.55 nautical miles.
So a little wind shift and an increase in pressure. Little course change there from the race committee. Really nice positioning on that last work from Emirates Team New Zealand. A fantastic race there. Both boats really having to do everything they could to try and put the other on the back foot. Fantastic battle.
Let's go on to chase 0. Pete, how about that for a change?
Yeah, set move. I was really impressed that Emirates Team New Zealand could survive thin on the hip. when Luna Rossa tapped to leeward, and you could hear on board coming off the comms, they went into a mode change. They went into that high, lower speed but high mode, and that was what set up that lead change. So New Zealand there just showing that they've got a few gears in the toolbox.
Just going in a fast mode, probably. Would they? I think if they went, we'd hit at the moment. That's because we're lifted. Yeah. I've just got that righty now. They've jibed. Let's go. 2.
So there was the lead change. Let's go on board to Emirates Team New Zealand chase boat, and that's Ray Davies.
Yeah, I know you're watching them, but nice building. Go hard mode. Barely want to shut it down here if you can. Just watch that.
No lower, yeah, all clear.
Not sure if we're going to get
try and hold that line, guys. Chip in a bit.
Razor there or not, but just looking at that manoeuvre, Luna Rossa Prata Pirelli a little skid on their rudder, Shirley. I think that's what actually washed the speed off for them. So just a little ventilation there of the rudder shaft basically allowed Emirates Team New Zealand to sail up round their bow.
Gone now. We're still good face. Yeah. Pressure looks good though, what we'll jibe back into soon as well.
Okay, let's go on the chase boat for Emirates Team New Zealand coach Ray Davies. Got to have a smile on your face. That lead change, mate. Congratulations. You've been stoked, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, no, look, long way to go. I'm very stoked with that. You know, it was a pretty awesome day out here. Like, that was a great start. We thought we were going to be able to hold a little bit longer to the boundary, but Luna Rossa did a great job getting rid of us, and they had that early advantage. And the guys have sailed a fantastic race since then, getting in fades and getting that little lefty up the beat. Tricky conditions, it's actually really dynamic. It might look pretty straightforward, but there's plenty of puffs and lulls. We've seen up to 12, 13 knots and down to 7, so it's yeah, pretty tricky.
Thanks for your time, mate. We'll let you watch the rest of this one.
Thank you. If we go straight through, we'd want to get back out here.
Emirates Team New Zealand heading down to complete leg number 4, race 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup after forcing a lead change at the top gate. They take the left-hand mark as you see it on your screen, whatever size that screen might be, and head up for leg number 5.
I just realised that, sorry, mate.
Final drive for Luna Rossa Prata Pirelli. They will head towards the right-hand marker as you see it and chase the defender down.
1 coming up slowly.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, lengthening the course to 1.6 nautical miles.
I think they got a big
That's just more good news for the remaining 2 races we have here today. Coming up in Hills Britannia against American Magic, the old foe going at it as this grudge match continues.
A bit of breeze in the 20.
Little right, okay, Umbi? Thinking about going here, stand by. Going 3, 2, 1. Put pressure on the exit.
See that shift on the bow. Fantastic shot there of Luna Rossa Prata Pirelli. Francesco Bruni calling the breeze in there.
To us, guys. Keep pushing.
As you heard, small gain, so decision time, Emirates Team New Zealand.
This is a good ride, so if they let us go straight, I'm happy.
Let's go to chase 0. Pete, what are you thinking about Luna Rossa at the moment?
Stand by. Yeah,
to me, it looks like they got a new mainsail and jib on, and I've got to say, their sails look absolutely superb. You know, some of it might be just the colour, you know, as you call it, the silver bullet, Stephen, but my word, their mainsail jib setup just looks gorgeous.
1 or 3. Hey, how far this way?
Probably 20 seconds.
Pete makes a good point. We haven't seen everything, have we, from these teams, and there's going to be more and more coming out as this summer progresses. All the sails are actually made by the same company, by North Sails, but they all have their own designers. They're all slightly different.
The old designers, you know, even though they're under the North Sails umbrella, all running their own design program, keeping everything a secret from each other, even though they're under the same umbrella. Very, very tightly guarded secrets, each team, of their structure and their design. Here in Jimmy Spittle there, Max Cunno. As the breeze goes up, they are getting to the top end of the range of these jibs that are on, sort of a J2 sort of in between a J2, J1.
2 for a right, I think. Oh, anytime now. Button, 2, on board. You'll see them we did up under them. And button.
Both boats now really flattening those sail plans off.
That's right, phase again.
For maximum efficiency as the breeze increases. So the wind being the thrust source, needing to depower to keep the sail plan clean and keep accelerating.
On the low, high mode.
To that wind getting stronger. To think that we started the first race probably around 30 minutes late because of light air. Now suddenly it's getting stronger. So who knows what's going to happen for the final 2 races of the day as this one rolls on.
It's got a lot more chatty on Emirates Team New Zealand, haven't they? Now they have Nathan Outridge, new for this America's Cup. I mean, he does such a good job of painting the picture.
It comes on, it's on now, but then it goes back off again.
I think we go a little shy of ley line, guys. Hopefully it's going to go right, stand by. Go in 3, 2, 1.
Getting all the time, so... Right,
we go down lay.
I think it'll come back.
Feels okay.
Yeah, probably right mark and earliest drive around the house. Definitely good pressure.
Emirates Team New Zealand heading to the top gate for the final time of this second race of the Louis Vuitton Cup Challenger Selection Series. Made the pass on leg number 3 and they have just put the foot to the pedal.
We got Righty here at the Mo still.
Followed in by Alinghi Red Bull Racing as they head to that top gate.
Just about the mark.
Excuse, I say Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. My apologies. They'll be thinking, how the heck did we let them get away with that?
Bad catch.
Last leg, downwind.
Yeah, Emirates Team New Zealand, 45 knot bear away speed. The Italians, 46.2 or 3.
Back now.
And only sort of 8 or 9 knots of breeze, so getting fired out of the cannon downwind, sailing into the back of the pressure on the way downwind.
I've lost the spot, very good.
I noticed yesterday lots of teams practicing the tack bear away. It's a big manoeuvre and pretty handy to be able to do it well.
It certainly is, and the wind field here, looking downwind, green, more pressure, blue, lighter pressure. They'll be definitely wanting to stay out of that blue area, Emirates Team New Zealand. The decision is really on them now to actually try and jibe in front of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, is my opinion of what they should be looking at doing, and sailing across into that pressure and actually taking the manoeuvre of staying in between them and their opponent to the bottom mark.
Just missing one. He's just jibing to leeward.
Happy to go here, stand by. Go in 3, 2, 1.
Pretty happy to keep
as we've just talked about. Emirates Team New Zealand just doing the simple things well there. Massive mast rotation there, and camber exiting that jibe to re-accelerate the boat downwind. Cam Webster, Dougal Allen, 158, 160 beats per minute on the pumps there.
Pretty nice phase here, so you're happy carrying on at this sort of
put in the big watts exiting the manoeuvre, and then once you get to the straight line phase, back to more of a cruise phase for all the Cyclors.
On to Chase Zero. Pete, what do you got?
Just since the Emirates Team New Zealand passed Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, I think they've extended. They're just right on our transom. We're only metres away from them as they rocket to that jibe. And the choreograph of the jibe and the timing and the sequencing is impressive to watch when you're up so close.
Big gains there to Luna Rossa, I think, Shirley. A couple of little puffs that they've linked up there, and only a few seconds in it still, even though it says 200 metres. At 40 knots of boat speed, you're covering the ground pretty quickly, so definitely still well and truly open this race.
Take your heads up, boys.
Race 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup Challenger Series about to come to a finish, and there may be no points on offer, but the defender has thrown a little jab into the face of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. If you want to beat us, Well, this is what you got to do.
Stay on 200 cruise that way.
They get the win. Followed in closely by Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli. Both teams will have learned plenty about each other's boat performance in that one. 12 seconds the gap. That is nothing. But if points had been on the line, it would have been a different story. Racing from day one of the Louis Vuitton Cup as we take a look at the spectator fleet that's hanging around the race course and enjoying, well, they're enjoying the sun, the weather and the entertainment they're providing on their own boats at the moment, as we are still in a wait and see situation for race number 6. And that's the magnificent AC37 Club further north up the coast. And yeah, if you want to enjoy some racing, that's not a bad way to do it. And that's hit the big screen as well to see what's going on. Stephen McIver, 2-time Olympic gold medalist Shirley Robertson, 3-time America's Cup winner Glenn Ashby and Peter Lester on the water now. Sustainable hydrogen boat Chase Zero still waiting for a start on another glorious day here in the Catalan capital, hoping to get a start. Well, and a start is all it will be for Ineos Britannia without seeing Emirates Team New Zealand, who are inside the shed fixing up Taihoro, which is their defence boat, which had a little bit of a problem yesterday in falling onto the cradle, but the news coming out of that is all good as far as they are concerned. We'll just have to wait and see. Another spectator cat, understandably an American Magic supporter. They do things in a big way. Just yesterday, standing outside on the national anthem as this monstrous flag, American flag, goes up. Now there's a sign, the tow up for Ineos Britannia. They have passed the wind test, so we're good to go for a start.
Yeah, great signs there. Both teams there towing up onto the foils for the entry. They'll be spiking off fairly shortly. Bang goes the tow, spiking off, and they'll be on their own from there to set themselves up for the entry. So race committee deciding, well, not deciding, they've seen the average wind speed surely go above the 6.5 knots and we're away from racing.
If you're wondering what's going on and you've just joined us, this is a one-boat race. Team New Zealand obviously out of action today, and the rules require that Ineos Britannia does start. But it's good practice for these guys, actually, you know, nailing the time and distance and practicing the comms and what is, as we've seen, a tricky day.
I'm so used to seeing two teams tow up and watching all the screens. I've seen both teams towing up, but, well, it is both teams. It's the yacht team and the tow team, but only one boat on the course at the moment. Ineos Britannia do have to actually start the race to get a sort of a race completion, so good practice for the team.
And to your point earlier, every bit of practice, particularly in this critical area, the start box, can't be measured.
All eyes on the boat handling of Ineos Britannia here. They've got a fairly captive audience at the moment, so well, there'll be plenty of armchair critics saying, oh, I would have eased that a bit more or trimmed that on a bit harder. But
if you remember at the end of their race yesterday, which they won, Sir Ben Ainsley said, we have a lot of work still to do. He was very coy with us. He's also said it in the post-race stand-ups, as you call them, with the press. He said the same thing. Wasn't going to let us know what was going on, but one would suggest if we go back to the preliminary regatta, they got caught out on one of the starts. So again, the start and the importance of the start, critical. So to get it right, even if you're not being put.
Yeah, they're definitely taking this seriously. We heard Ben Ainsley say, you know, let's be really careful not to end up in our gas, and the boat's sometimes so close to touching down. It is right on the edge, so difficult to keep flying.
See the aggressive lines there of Ineos Britannia. A huge amount going on there with all the little bumps and deflectors and spray rails. Aerodynamically, a lot going on there, and with the power of the association with the Formula One race car team, you'd expect to see some pretty cool stuff.
There's a perfect example of what many people remark about Emirates Britannia, the way they spin that boat around. Just whip it around at speed, as if it's on a dime or a penny.
That's your committee boat end on the bow, killing 6. Okay, coming down. Tempo here.
They will practice these starts, won't they, in the simulator over and over again, but there's nothing like doing it on the racetrack.
So the philosophy here is just to charge the boat speed as much as you can at sort of 90 degrees or reaching angle in the right air to start over target speed.
Ineos Britannia, race 6 of the Louis Vuitton Cup, and they are clean.
This is the umpires. New Zealand has retired. The race is stopped and awarded to Great Britain.
How about that? How about that? Just like that. What a way to get a... Well, you don't get a point of these races against Emirates Team New Zealand, but good practice, time and distance. Good job.
It's not always that easy against the defender, is it?
What do you think? Feels like getting straight would be good to get off the course. Okay, do that. Quite light here, no pressure rebuilding in 10.
Just focusing on some of the aerodynamic features of Ineos Britannia. Little vortex generators, deflectors, absolutely huge amount of CFD modelling, which is the computer fluid dynamics modelling from the team and teams. In actual fact, every team putting a huge amount of effort into that side of it.
This is the race committee, just under 9 minutes to the start of match 7. Italy entering on port, USA entering on starboard, course 6.
The encouraging thing we are seeing here, though, is wind. And let's just quickly go on to the course. Pete Lester listening on Chase Zero. Are we looking more confident for race number 7, Luna Rossa against American Magic, wind-wise, Peter?
Yeah, we're at the top of the course. It looks okay. Looking sort of further out to sea, it just I'm seeing good colour on the water, so I'm hopeful. And the mere fact that Ineos went through that sequence, and Ian Murray, the principal race officer, is obliged to still have it above 6.5 knots. I think I'm hopeful that hopefully we'll get the 6-1 underway shortly.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, might want to just check it out.
So that's a good sign from Pete, who's right on the water there in Chase Zero, hydrogen chase boats, and you'll see plenty of them around. All the teams having to have hydrogen chase boats, and there are VIP chase boats as well. They're a longer version of the team boats, and they're quite the sight once they're up on their foils. So that's race 6 done, you might say, but we are heading towards race 7. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli against American Magic, who now both have a single win apiece.
Just watching Ben Ainsley there trying to do something to the back of the main, and thinking back to Auckland when he swapped sides in every tack in jive. I mean, gone are those days.
I remember those days well, and you just about get flushed out the back like a Grogan. You got to be hanging on. That's absolutely for sure. The leeward side of the mainsail, the faster airspeed than the windward side. So yeah, amazing going around that mast where you feel like you've just got about 200 kilometres an hour of wind just blowing out the back. But even in these super light air, you just saw how much windage was going over Ben there. And yep, super important to get down in your cockpit and out of the wind.
It's great to have a good look at the boat, and we can see Mercedes' influence. I mean, they're fully collaborative in the design here, almost in every detail.
This is the race committee. We failed the wind limit. We will attempt to restart the race at 16:03.
A message from Mel there. No, not what we want to hear. But the wind is changing direction also. It is rotated to the right-hand side. Potentially more thermal influence, and with a bit of patience, pretty sure we might see a bit of breeze later.
So just a reminder, wherever you're watching, that's Ineos Britannia, who have completed the start and win race number 6 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. Emirates Team New Zealand in the shed, getting Taihoru up and ready to go.
Operation 5. Copy.
Race 7, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, New York Yacht Club's American Magic.
Clean, clinical and composed. Early days, but Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli already looked to be the whole package. Jimmy Spittle, driving in his 8th consecutive Cup, has turned up looking strong, and his long-term partnership with Bruni makes this a formidable pairing. Molinari's and TC, the unsung heroes here, faultlessly delivering speed and a steady flight. And backed up on the pumps, giving it everything, is Voltolini, Gabea, and on the starboard pedals, Rossetti and Liuzzi.
Well-established team of American Magic will be looking for a solid day on the water against Italy in today's light air race. Steering the yacht is Paul Goodison on the port side and Tom Slingsby on starboard. Foil trimmers Andrew Campbell and Michael Manager round out the afterguard, and in the recumbent cycling positions powering the hydraulic pumps is James Wright, Trevor Bird, Ethan Cedar and Madison Molitor.
So getting ready for race number 7, but you heard moments ago from race management, not enough wind. That's why Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli is sitting and waiting. Just waiting for wind, as we have done for the last little while at least, and we did yesterday, but once we got going, man, we had some racing yesterday, so you can see the tow rope on. And this is a team that certainly believes they are right up there. Well, they are up there and one of the favourites to win the Louis Vuitton Cup and go back again to the match. And I know Shirley, I remember you saying in the preliminary regatta, has been too much change to this team, and no change is good. They are an experienced, well-drilled outfit, particularly Bruni and Spittle.
Yeah, Bruni and Spittle invented dual helming. And just listening to their comms as well, it's got a lot more composed, I think, than it was in Auckland. And this is a very calm, established team. Not just the sailing team, but the whole back room. You know, they retained a lot of their staff, a lot of the designers, and yeah, they're very impressive.
I wonder when on Shirley's narrative about the calmness and the lack of, you know, going all out and throwing themselves sort of to a lot of social media. They've taken a read on Emirates Team New Zealand. Max Serena was involved with Emirates Team New Zealand, and I just wonder whether he's gone, I can see the formula here. We need to repeat it this time around.
Yeah, certainly Max is a very, very experienced campaigner, and he's definitely seen the inner workings, I guess, of Emirates Team New Zealand, having been part of the Bermuda campaign there, and a fantastic guy, you know, leading the charge. And really the whole team has had a lot of experience. They've brought in some really new young talent as well, and I think that mix of experience and youth and talent is a great mix. They're certainly very well established and playing the game well.
This is the race committee. We have failed the wind limit again and have set a new start time of 16:08.
So there you go again. Another delay to the start of race 7, 4:08 local time. That's 4:08. That's in around 10 minutes time off the coast of Barcelona. They've swung the course around looking for wind. So you can see in the top left of your screen, 9 minutes and 22 seconds and come to a start in race number 7. Paul Goodison on port helm for American Magic. And you know what? When you look at the helming battle here, that's a cracker. Absolute good one. Slingsby, Goodison, you know. Tom Slingsby, many say, arguably, we have to throw that one in, the best foiling skipper in the world. And that probably a lot comes from other formats of racing. And then you got Francesco Bruni and the wily old dog, Jimmy Spittle, you know?
Well, Tom Slingsby and Paul Goodison, I mean, they were rivals for years in the men's single-handed class in the Olympic arena. Tom winning the gold medal in London, and 4 years later, Paul. And I think there was no love loss between them. It wasn't a secret, so they've really had to go build this relationship. Obviously, we've seen how important comms are between the helmsmen, and yeah, it has very much been a work in progress.
Very similar to the Outridge-Berlin combination, both battling against each other in the Olympic classes now, you know, best of buddies and helming Emirates Team New Zealand, and Tohoru doing a marvellous job as well. Tom Slingsby, there he is.
Having a bit of a scan around just to see if there's any sort of breeze coming down the course. It's really important to actually try and get an elevated view. You see a lot of the skippers and a lot of the crew, you know, standing up on the boat, and, you know, especially standing forwards where Tom is there. You do really get a, you know, sort of a nice appreciation of what's actually coming down the course. That just a couple of metres of elevation really makes a huge difference about sort of seeing over the horizon and further up the racetrack. So just getting a good feel of what's coming down the course, particularly in these light air conditions, is really key to sort of working out. You're talking to your meteorologists, you're talking to the wider team, and just getting that feel of which side of the course you want to go to, definitely important.
This is the race committee. We have dipped below the wind limit, and we'll try again for a start at 16:10.
It is tantalizingly close. Average is between 6 and 7 knots. But wind rotating to the right. So I think angle as well, tricky for the race organisers.
Cross your fingers for a start, but you know what? The America's Cup has always been a race of innovation, strategy, and sometimes, like we're saying, pure grind. In the past, crews have relied on grinders to power their boats, but here at the Louis Vuitton 37th America's Cup, they've been replaced by Cyclors, high wattage athletes, powered with the task of energizing these boats.
The job of the power team in the America's Cup is to pump oil inside the cylinders. The difference between the last cup and now is basically that last cup we spinning our arms, and in this cup we can use our legs. Legs have more power than arms, and when you're spinning your legs, you have your hand free. So free to use buttons, keyboards, or whatever. In a perfect world, you would have 4 sailor Cyclor, because at the end it's a sailing boat. But it's difficult to find some sailor that's pushing a lot of power. The perfect human to do the job of Cyclor is the rower.
Rowers, I suppose, are pretty perfect in terms of their power output and their weight. And so for us, it's just a big aerobic base with a lot of power too behind it as well. So I think it's just a perfect mix.
The most power is generated by rowers. They're stronger. Stronger than the other guys. That's it.
Paolo is a sprinter as a cyclist, and it's impressive how efficiency is movement compared to us that not cyclists.
The rowers are usually to do like a 20 minutes effort. They used to fly and die. You have to know how to pedal, because if you pedal in a bad way, you waste a lot of energy. You should improve your cycling movement, your position, your biomechanics, everything, because that means that you can give the best on the boat.
We did a great job to teach them how we can sail this boat and the ability to understand when push hard or not. And it's important to be a sailor, understand what is going on in the water, to anticipate what will be the next maneuver. Let's say if you are doing a duck behind your opponent, you will know that it's going to be a big trim after the duck.
from outside, you always heard, oh yes, America's Cup is like a Formula One, but on a sailing boat. And you know, you always think that people exaggerate, but it's completely true. Every day you learn something that is a really life school here.
So there is Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, just been advised the time is pushed back to 4:14. We were hearing Peter Lester on Chase Zero that there was a little bit more wind in the start box. You're close by. What do you say?
Golly, it's at the bottom end. It's a bit like yesterday when we first came out, where the wind looks to be beyond the top mark. You know, there's better pressure for sure, probably a couple of miles out. Looking in the start box right now from where I am, it looks very, very quiet. And as you get deeper into the start box, it's certainly below that wind limit. So, look, all we need, though, is a little push of breeze to come down the course. There's one of the boats, I can't actually identify who he is, beyond the top mark sailing round, and he's fully foiled up, having a good time. I think it actually might be Ineos. But, yeah, unfortunately, that breeze that's further out, not filling in onto the race course.
So there she is, the silver bullet, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. And she's still in the chamber, waiting to fire. And we're all waiting for both boats to fire up. American Magic, who, and I know Tom Slingsby and crew, despite getting that win, would love to, as he said to us, you know, finish foiling, not crawling across the line. But don't underestimate the importance of that point to American Magic in this whole Louis Vuitton Cup. Great look at just what the wind is doing at both ends of the course.
The chase boat drivers really playing a big part in these light air conditions, you know, positioning the yacht and themselves in a place where they can, at a moment's notice, pull the AC-75 up onto the foils, and working with the sort of coaching team and meteorology team and the wider team, you know, big job to execute that well. It's, you know, you've got a lot of horsepower at the back of the chase boat there that you have to guide very, very carefully and place the AC-75 in the correct position on the course to spike off for the entry. So a full team effort here in the lighter conditions.
Not looking healthy at the moment. We'll get official confirmation of where we stand shortly from race management. Saw Tom Burnham, their coach of American Magic, having a chat. People will say, well, why do you need a coach? Why do you need a coach? These are professional sailors. So where do you stand on that?
It's like herding cats, isn't it? Sure.
I mean, most of them will have a bank of coaches. Yeah, I think all the teams do, and they'll all have their speciality. But part of it is that it's organisation. You know, it's a big team. It's pulling all the timings together and prioritising what you work on when. And some people's coaches have been with them a long time. Like we're just looking at Luna Rossa here. Philippe Presti has been with Jimmy Spittle. I don't know how many America's Cups, many, and they know them and they understand how to deal with them under pressure.
This is the race committee. We have dropped below the wind limit again and set a new start time of 16:17.
So it's a bit like an American football team, isn't it? You have coaches for every different position. I was intrigued to watch the Cyclors and listen to one of the coaches talking about, I suppose you call it biomechanics, about how they actually have to cycle in a specific manner to gain maximum watts on the bike. And they are breaking every position down. And frankly, for me, I find it fascinating.
I mean, of course, all the teams will have a pretty high-level physiologist, but I think the coaching role has really evolved, hasn't it, in the last few cycles, and the ability to understand data has become, you know, such a priority in that role. And if you can't, it doesn't matter how good you are at, you know, match race strategy, it's going to be pretty hard.
Such a massive effort goes into, you know, that whole side of it. it's really a big job.
This is the race committee. Unfortunately, we are struggling to meet the win limit and will be abandoning for the day. Thank you for your patience, and we'll see you tomorrow.
So it's official. Day 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup has been called by race management. Not enough wind to get us going for race number 7. Ouch, that does hurt for sailors and fans alike, but that's just what Mother Nature's all about. And we just have to get ready for day number 3 and hope that she provides us something just a little bit more special. So it's been a cracking old day to a point. We had one race, it turned into a bit of a displacement race. Let's go around the team and just get their impressions. Pete, I'll go to you first on Chase Zero. Of that race that we got, what stood out for you? Did you see anything that you liked about either of the boats?
I thought American Magic looked impressive. They got their jib choice right, and they controlled that race comprehensively. I think for the Swiss, they've got a bit of work on. I don't think they're quite quick enough.
Okay, threw that one out straight away. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, I would be asking questions. I think if I was on Alinghi, they just look a little bit sticky, not quite enough power. And we also learned how to sail and how hard it is to sail in that kind of really light pressure.
Myself personally, I'm just hoping tomorrow we get to see some breeze, please. No, look, I think a really interesting day in lighter conditions, and the boat's performance when they do get up, it's like there's no way they would have taken off and foiled, previously in the last cup in that breeze, and to see them ripping around in just such small breeze, we don't need much, and hopefully tomorrow will bring that breeze for us to see some great racing.
I think when you come to look at some things of the day, I think a quote of the day comes from Shirley. It's just like mowing lawns as they go cross and cross. So you're going to get the gold star today, Shirley, on that one for mowing lawns on our racetrack on Barcelona. And what a day it has. Well, it started out quite well for American Magic, but not so for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. You got caught at the start and it just turned to custard for them. This was a good sign early in the piece for American Magic. Alinghi Red Bull Racing finally got a footing and then decided to touch down again. They really struggled, and as you can see the reaction from their chase team, it was a really strong day of not doing much. Then look what happened. They thought they were in a good spot, and they too, American Magic, really did struggle with that wind on that shortened course, because then it became a 4-leg race, and you can see the reactions from the chase boat. You really do get a lot from the chase boats. And then Ineos Britannia in race 6, all they had to do was cross the line to get the win against Emirates Team New Zealand, who are busy beavering away in their shed to get ready to return to the regatta. So let's take a look after day number 2 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. And look at that, this is the 6 teams, and well, with that win against Emirates Team New Zealand, Ineos Britannia top of the pile. But what you have to do is then just maybe take Emirates Team New Zealand out of that. And where do we stand? Well, still good signs for fans of Ineos Britannia, because they sit atop of the pile along with Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli, American Magic. Oh, the relief will be palpable. They got their first win in Orient Express Racing as well with that 1 point. And this is what happens tomorrow. Looking forward to this. It'll be race match number 8. Oh, we'll see, of course, Italy versus the USA. So it looks like we're in for a big day of racing. There is the committee boat. Fine looking boat is this, although I know Glenn Ashby has differing views on that, but I like pretty things and he likes practical things. So there you go. As we see American Magic being towed in, and he's getting their way back into the port and start thinking about race day number 3. We start thinking about another day tomorrow where we will get plenty of racing. So we'll see you tomorrow.